Hey, Dr. Lisa here. If you're a project manager or a portfolio manager, I'm going to show you in this mini masterclass how to turn around a struggling project. I'm talking about you having complete confidence in exactly where to focus your resources to turn around your project, to have a chance of delivering on time, if it's still possible, or to deliver much faster than history would dictate. About making sure you and your project managers are seen as superheroes. That's the Exapron approach, and it's very different from what most people think about when they think about project management or recovering a project. Now, there's nothing for sale in this video, so relax, sit back, and learn. I'm going to share with you why your current project management doesn't work and how knowing where to focus, which tasks should have your full attention, is the key to turning around a project or starting a new project off right. Various project management methods have been around for a long time. Whether you're using a Gantt chart with PERT and critical path method, Scrum or Agile, in Excel, Microsoft Project, Primavera, or any other software or any other project management methodology, determining the project network for each project is one of the most important strategic and tactical activities in which project managers and portfolio managers must constantly engage. It's not discretionary, it's not an option, it's crucial. Having a process that quickly and accurately delivers a project network, along with monitoring and adjustments as needed, is a daily activity. You must have a method to build out project networks with the necessary and sufficient dependencies, and then to visually monitor project status so that you can dynamically adjust without over-adjusting to keep your projects on schedule. You've no doubt heard the saying, on time, in budget, and within scope. Pick any two. I'm going to show you today why traditional project management approaches are taking you in the wrong direction. These approaches are the reason you're not confident in your project network and why you're either enveloped in chaos or drowning in Gantt revisions or constantly moving your Agile task or scrambling to do a Scrum sprint or breaking your project task into more and more detail, and why your projects are late, over budget, and or reduced in scope. Adding more and more tasks to your Gantt chart or Agile project or breaking your tasks down into smaller and smaller tasks is not the answer. It will not lead to more accurate nor consistent task durations or more confidence in your project completion. Adding more and more detail into your projects in an attempt to get a more accurate plan you can feel confident about just does not work. I'm going to show you in just a minute what does work. Now, maybe you're familiar with the PMI body of knowledge, Agile methodology, Scrum methodology, critical path method, the Kanban methodology, extreme programming, Prince2, lean project management, the waterfall method, or any of the other traditional project management methods. I'm not about to teach any of these, but let me explain a couple key concepts so that you understand the difference in the new method I'm about to share. Traditional project management methods fall into two categories. One, rigid, structured Gantt waterfall methods where tasks and task durations are known. And two, less structured, agile, adaptive, socialized methods where there are unknowns relative to task and task duration. The rigid structure tries to use strict governance, while the agile methods are more fluid. Management loves the governance, while resources love the fluidity. Both categories of project management methods fail. According to PMI's 2010 annual survey, 46% of projects are late and 62% of projects are late and or over budget. But that was 2010. Surely things have improved. Unfortunately, no. The 2021 survey showed 45% of the projects are late and 66% of the projects are late and or over budget. How can that be? Well, all the methods, regardless of which category, are flawed. They suffer from the same underlying problem. What problem? I'll explain. Traditional project management does not build a simple but robust network of tasks that includes critical, all the necessary and sufficient dependencies, sufficient to allow all the resources to know exactly which tasks to focus on. The more rigid Gantt waterfall methods use a work breakdown structure, which is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of work to be carried out by the project team to accomplish the project objectives and create the required deliverables. A work breakdown structure element may be a product, data, service, or any combination of these. It provides a necessary framework for detailed cost estimation while providing guidance for schedule development and control. A critical component of the work breakdown structure is the 100% rule. The 100% rule states that the work breakdown structure includes 100% of the work defined by the project scope and captures all deliverables, internal, external, interim, in terms of the work to be completed, including project management. The 100% rule is one of the most important principles guiding the development, decomposition, and evaluation of the work breakdown structure. The rule applies at all levels within the hierarchy. The sum of the work at the child level must equal 100% of the work represented by the parent, and the work breakdown structure should not include any work that falls outside the actual scope of the project. That is, it cannot include more than 100% of the work. It is important to remember that the 100% rule also applies to the activity level. The work represented by the activities in each work package must add up to 100% of the work necessary to complete the work package. Wow, that sounds so comprehensive, right? Like nothing could be missed or go wrong. So why are so many projects late and over budget? The work breakdown structure used by many Gantt waterfall methods are not necessary and sufficient project networks, which means the dependencies are often missing or lacking or have not been tested because creating the dependencies is a very time-consuming process. When dependencies do exist, the network modeling rules used are deficient. The modeling rules are free-form and rely heavily on the skills of the project planner and project executioner. And the work breakdown structure does not include resource requirements, so resource contention is frequent, resource availability is just assumed, or receives limited consideration on the project network. And due to this, the placement of a string of tasks is arbitrary, a guesstimate if you will, and this leads to missynchronization of task execution, which leads to multitasking, resource contention, and resources working in chaos and out of priority order. Without the necessary and sufficient dependencies, integration points in the project plan are often a point of failure, where the project can fall behind due to low probability of all the tasks completing on time. The more tasks feeding into the integration, the higher the probability that at least one of the tasks will not complete on time, delaying the entire project. Milestones, including those triggering a payment, are not ideal. Milestones are driven by commitments that were made based off an incorrect, rough project network and timeline created quickly during the quote and sales process. Since creating sufficient project networks is a time-consuming process in the Gantt waterfall methods, sufficient details are not added until the project is won, which makes sense. Then, when the project is awarded, the project planners try to add detail around a now fixed timeline of milestones which now appear aggressive, so an impossible task that leads to an impractical project network. Without the necessary and sufficient dependencies but aggressive milestones now, too many tasks get started in an attempt to catch up, and because I can't work on what I need to work on, it's behind schedule, so I'll work on what I can. And of course, this further increases multitasking and chaos. So no matter which Gantt waterfall method you use, PMI methods, critical path, Prince2, or just a basic Gantt or waterfall, bad multitasking, resource contention, and chaos are not far behind, which means it's difficult to complete projects on time and in budget. But what about the newer adaptive Agile methods? The adaptive Agile methods differ from the Gantt waterfall methods generally in four main ways. Customer collaboration is emphasized over contract negotiation. Individuals and interaction are emphasized over process and tools. Responding to a change is emphasized over following a structured plan. And prototyping and working solutions are emphasized over comprehensive documentation. However, the adaptive Agile methods also, like the Gantt waterfall methods, do not require all the necessary and sufficient dependencies. Instead, they create a free-form task list called an epic, which uses cases. Each use case is broken down into tasks. Then each task is ranked and assigned to resources by complexity. Resources work in socialized teams to enhance interaction and creative ideation. Project reporting is more anecdotal and highly subjective, and due dates keep rolling forward, so management is often blindsided by the resulting delays and cost creep. So just like the Gantt waterfall methods, no matter which adaptive Agile method you use, Agile, Scrum, Kanban, Extreme Programming, or Lean, bad multitasking, resource contention, and chaos are not far behind, which means it's difficult to complete projects on time and in budget. So let me summarize. All of the project management methods, Agile, Scrum, Critical Path, Kanban methodology, Extreme Programming, Prince2, lean project management, the waterfall method, the PMI body of knowledge, or any of the other traditional project management methods, no matter if packaged in Excel, Microsoft Project, Primavera, or any other software. The same fundamental flaw is embedded. They all lack a necessary and sufficient project network. This root cause is leaving you feeling less than confident in your ability to deliver your project on time and within budget. It is making it difficult to ensure you're working on the right task in the right order. But there's hope. Identifying the underlying root cause of the problem empowers the analyst to identify a solution. And that brings us to the Exapron method. It is an insanely powerful and unique project management system that works for simple and even the most complex, highly variable projects. Let's start by defining the 4 steps to planning a necessary and sufficient project network using the Exapron method. Step 1. The project network is built with necessary and sufficient logic. Step 2. The pool of available resources is correctly defined and frequently updated. Step 3. Resource allocation rules are used to create the true resource loading. And step 4. Task durations reflect touch time and contain no safety. Let's take a look at each one of these in more detail. The project network is built with necessary condition logic. We start with the end in mind. We define the objective of the project first. Then, using necessary condition logic, we ask, in order to achieve that, we must. In this way, we end up with everything that is necessary, but nothing that is not. For example, the traditional method of building networks from left to right often creates longer chains with tasks in series, lengthening the final project schedule. This traditional approach also can result in missing dependencies and/or missing tasks. In addition, there can also be dangling tasks or chains of tasks that don't have successors, culminating in milestones without successors. Using the Exapron method, we build the networks from right to left, using necessary condition logic. This method creates shorter chains with more tasks in parallel, shortening the final project schedule. It ensures all the necessary dependencies are clearly defined, so the probability of missing a task is remote. And it ensures dependencies have greater integrity. Every task has a successor except the final task. This allows clear visibility of the real-time, dynamic impact of task duration gains and delays, so the project progress is clear. We know where resources need to focus and on what clearly established priorities. Then the pool of available resources is correctly defined and frequently updated. The Exapron method defines the pool of available resources similar to any other common project management method. The key is that they are correctly defined and updated as needed. The other common project management methods, lacking the full dependency of all the tasks we just discussed, are backward-looking with no future vision of resource contention, whereas with the Exapron method, Exapron uses these pools for accurate, real-time, current resource utilization and future resource planning requirements. Then, resource allocation rules are used to create the true resource loading. Exapron is forward-looking when it comes to resource allocation and loading. The focus is put on the remaining time on a task as opposed to the backward-looking percent complete that the other project management methods use. The assumption behind monitoring the percent complete is that the task durations are correct. But how often are your task durations incorrect? Vary. When project progress is monitored based on incorrect task durations, there can be many very unpleasant surprises. Exapron, by monitoring what is currently known, project progress is factual, dynamic, and real-time adjustments can be made. This, of course, reduces the overall project duration, keeps projects on budget, and improves on-time delivery. Okay, step number 4. Task durations reflect touch time and contain no safety. The traditional way of setting task duration is to ask each resource for a time estimate. It's human nature to add safety to our estimates because we know we have many demands on our time, and we actually want to ensure that we finish in the time that we state. In the Exapron method, the safety that is removed from task is used to buffer integration points in the form of feeding buffers at the integration points and to buffer the overall project. When each task has added safety, if a task goes over its planned duration, all lateness is passed on, and tasks typically do not finish early. The time usually expands to fill the given task duration. By removing the safety from each task and using that time to buffer integration points and the project, we only use the safety when and where it's needed. In this way, we need less safety and use buffering to its best effect. These aggressive but achievable touch time task durations are the basis for a sensitive signal that makes it clear when intervention is needed. For example, if a task with safety is 10 days, while the touch time of that task is 5 days, and 6 days have now passed, when we don't add safety to the task but instead use touch time, we get an early warning signal. Because we are at day 6 on a 5-day task, the task with safety would not give a signal until 11 days have passed. This real-time buffer penetration signal serves as an early warning alert. These integration and project buffers are divided into 3 equal zones, green, yellow, red, which are monitored. They feed a project dashboard allowing for early detection and response to any project issues, while the common method can only react after it's too late. Can you see why common project management methods fail? Why 66% of projects are late and/or over budget? Exapron's necessary and sufficient project networks get the planning right, so projects have a chance to succeed. Now here's the thing. The Exapron method is not your traditional, commonly used project management method or software. It's unique. It's going to take some unlearning and then understanding of a few key concepts. The good news is that once you learn these key concepts, it's much simpler to use. For example, you can quickly set up the project network during the quoting process. And the Exapron method is based on what we know. And recognizing that the project environment is dynamic, we create a plan, the necessary and sufficient project network, but we also use real-time, known data to dynamically adjust and to monitor progress. Dialing in your projects in this way gives you the best chance of delivering on time. And as a result, you become the project superhero, having slayed all the old technology and flawed methods. Today we covered Exapron's unique approach to project planning. It limits resource contention, management surprises, bad multitasking, and chaos so you can deliver on time. Now you may be wondering if and how this will work for your unique projects. Since every company is different with different types of projects, the best way to answer that is with a free strategy session. We'll go deep to make sure your projects are a good fit. During the session, we'll discuss your unique project management challenges. We'll uncover the hidden challenges that may be sabotaging your ability to deliver on time and within budget. We'll provide an assessment to determine what's possible for your unique situation and the likely benefits of moving to the Exapron method. To request a free strategy session, just click the button below.